Hi YouTube, I realize it's been a really long time since I made my last video, so of course I decided to do one now when I'm sick. So if I sound a little raspy or it's a little difficult or more difficult to understand me, please forgive me. I've spent a month away from home and I have not wanted for anything other than what I've packed. So I thought it'd be a good idea to give you, my viewers, an idea of what my core brushes are and give you an idea of what you might pick for your core sets of brushes if you're new to Food A. It'd be a good idea to look for a series of brushes like what I'm about to show you. Um, so, for example, these are my face brushes, and then these are my eye brushes plus some eyeliners. So, of course, I've washed these in the last month, and it's a really good set that I put together with the intent of being able to do everything from everyday makeup to more dramatic smoky makeup or glam makeup. I'm going to start with just the brushes and then also show you the makeup products that I've been using with them. So this is a great makeup bag I got when I purchased some brushes from a fellow blogger. I don't know where this bag is from. I don't know where she got it, but it's awesome. So to give you an idea, this is my brushes, and then here's a bunch of stuff. I have some reference pictures of eyes in there with different eyeliner styles to give myself a reference when I want to change things up. And then there's a second compartment here that I have shoved all my makeup in. So, getting started. Actually, I forgot one thing. This is already getting off to a great start. Okay, now I have everything. So starting with face, I tend to just put on a lot of moisturizer and essence, and then I just smooth it all over my face, pat it in, do the rest of my things like brush my teeth, brush my hair, try to wrestle my hair into some semblance of flatness on the top. And then by then, my moisturizer is usually absorbed in enough. I pat away or wipe away excess, and I'm ready for foundation. So what I have here is my little purse kit. I have a 5 pan palette that used to be empty, and I filled it with a variety of foundations, a little darker of a color for contour, under eye concealer, and a little bit of a lighter color for adjusting the shade if I'm more pale. So these are my three bases. Here's a cream blush, and here's a cream highlighter. So for my foundation application, I take this little brush I picked up from some freebie kit somewhere, grab some, put it on, concentrating it on the center of my face, spreading it out, and then I blend it out with a foundation brush. I picked this one because it fits in my bag nicely and because it's also a wonderful brush. This is the Sonia G Base 1 brush. It's completely round, kind of dirty, I'm sorry. Very dense, dual fiber, synthetic, and goat hair. What I like about this brush is quite small, but not too small. I can blend out everything pretty efficiently. It takes me about a minute and a half to cover my entire face and get everything. I've been very satisfied using this brush. The other reason why I packed this brush is for the size. As you can see, it's about, I'd say a little bit more than 15 millimeters wide. I have no idea what the exact measurements are, but that allows me to use it with cream blush. So I'll get a little bit, pat it on in a straight line, and I'll blend it using upward and circular motions. So this is both a cream foundation, though you can use it for liquid foundation too, cream blush, and well, for highlighter, I just dip my finger in and then I smooth it on using my finger and blend it out. So this is a pretty multi-purpose brush. And I can also take the contour color. I start here and I'll take this brush and sort of flick it down and up, down and up. So I'm kind of pushing it up into my cheekbone to sculpt it out. I only start it here because when I'm doing this motion, I'm blending it out as I drag it down. If I did this and ended it here and I tried to do that, I would take it way too far out. So this is a great all-purpose face brush and I highly recommend it. I got her, I think, fundamental set and this came in that. I'm very happy this was in there. Moving on, concealer. This is the, let me see, what are you? You are the KQ12 Sado brush. So normally Sado brushes have their name engraved, or I ask for them to engrave the name on them. This one doesn't have the name on it because it has this fancy lace detail. So they call it the KQ12 curving brush with a U. I think they meant carving because of the engraving in there. Regardless, it's a fantastic Kolinsky brush, very stiff. It's not the softest around the eyes because of the nature of Kolinsky, but this one is a great detail brush for concealer. Cleaning up around the lip, getting into the edges of the nose, and curve carving out the brow if I really want that type of look. It's an all-purpose concealer brush that I've really been loving. And because of that nice taper at the tip, it gets really, really precise. Like, I love that. I can have a wide surface and I can have a really narrow thin surface. And then because it's Kolinsky, it washes very easily. Like I can just wipe it on a soapy cloth, rinse it, and then it'll be dry the next morning, ready to go. Well, I usually give my brushes a little more of a rest than that, but that's if I'm really pressed. Or you can forego the wet soap rag and you can just brush it on, say, a microfiber cloth and it'll clean just fine. So for my base, for concealer and other detail work, these have been my go-tos. And we're only part way through. We're only part way through my brush collection I've been using for the past month. Okay. And lipstick fall. So after foundation and concealer are done with, I powder. This is what I've been using for my Target powder brush. This again is a Sonia G brush. This is from the Sky Face set. This is the soft cheek. Very loose and fluffy, but still has some nice body to it and firmness. It ordinarily is about this big, but I've been keeping mine in a brush guard because that's how I prefer it. I prefer it to be more, not fitted, uh, more compact. So I have more precision with it. However, it still splays out to a nice big area. I've been using this with, and I'm going to show you the product I use it with, a pressed finishing powder. It's because it's goat hair and it has a bit of texture to it. It's firm and has enough texture to grab a pressed powder if you like swirl it in there. And I've been using that on the shiny zones, under the eyes, and then just overall as a finishing powder to diffuse skin texture because that's the purpose of this powder here. So I haven't been using bronzer. I didn't pack one and I didn't feel like using it, but this could very well be a bronzer brush because of that nice surface area it gives you when you press it. Completely round and a good brush. I'm not sure if it'll be sold separately, but when it does, it's a really good one to consider. Continuing in the vein of Sonia G, in the Skyface set, this is the classic cheek. It's on the smaller side for a round paddle-shaped brush. And And then if you've seen my sky face video, I go more into the things it can be used for. But I've just been using this for blush. Because it's small, I can do ombre blush if I want to. So if I apply a darker blush down here, I can apply a lighter blush up here and then kind of create a contouring effect without using contouring powder. Sometimes I'm too lazy to use the cream contour, or the powder contour brush is being washed or something. So then I make do with just two colors of blush. I don't wash all my brushes at the same time. I strategically leave some unwashed so I have stuff to use. But this has been a great blush brush. You can use it with patting motions or with circular buffing motions. It's on the more firm side, but not ridiculously so. If you tend to load up a lot of product, you will have to take some off in the back of your hand before you go in and apply. Otherwise, you end up with clown cheeks, and fixing clown cheeks is never fun. Tip for fixing clown cheeks: take your foundation brush and start from the outside and brush in, and I'll kind of wipe away blush and at the same time blend it away. Next up, highlighter brush. This is the Sado DC14. This one's unique in that it's made of deer. It's interesting. It's very textured. It feels almost firm, but the tips are very soft and typical of other Japanese brushes. Running your fingers across it, it doesn't feel silky, but on your face, it feels soft. You can feel a little bit more texture than goat hair, but it's not unpleasant. It's almost like pony, except for less firm and more flexible. And part of it is also because of this tapered candle shape. It comes to a very fine point, and because of this, I use it for highlighter all over the face. So of course, cheekbones, around the orbital bone, and because of that tip, I need to get nicely down the nose and on the cupid's bow. So this has been my go-to highlighter brush, and I've been using it straight for the last months and have not really had any complaints. It's more of a specialized brush. Maybe some of you don't prefer to use one brush for only one purpose, but this keeps it easy. And if you really wanted to, you could use this for contouring, but I'm about to show you the brush that I use for that next. I've been pairing this brush with the Kevin Aquan duo. This is they call it the contour duo for sculpt and highlight. This is the Celestial powder in Candlelight. And I just use that, boop, boop, and this works really well for my skin tone, which is somewhere between max NC20 and NC15, more on the 20 side. So this has been working really well. Oh, I forgot to show you what I use with the blush brush. I have been using, this is the old packaging for Rouge Bunny Rouge Delicata. This is the original skin blush. This is a more nudie blush when I feel like using more color on my eyes, on my lips. And of course, I cannot live without a red or pink blush. So I've been using this one from Shiseido. This was a limited edition compact that they had. So this is a Camellia compact. They have a matte red, a matte dusky pink, and then a matte white. I use the matte white as a highlighter sometimes, but I mostly use it to tone down one of the other two colors. So this is the example of ombre blush that I was talking about. Grab a little bit of the darker one, apply it very sparingly, and then flip the brush over, grab a bit of the lighter pink, apply it on top, and then blend the places where they meet together. And then go over that with highlight. So those have been my blushes. And let's see what else is in my bag of wonders. Oops. Back to the scheduled programming. This is the Sonia G Worker Fan, also from the Sky Face set. I've been using this one pretty much exclusively for contour. Once in a while, I'll grab the finishing powder and do that all over the face really quickly because it is so big and it is so quick and efficient. But I've been sticking to contour so I don't have to wipe off the brush and worry about muddying colors. So this one, swipe, 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 start here, and then I do that sort of C motion again, is going down and flicking up. And then to really blend, I just push up. And then because of that fine edge that you can get right here, can get in on the inner corner of the eye, down the nose, and then of course under the chin, around the face, down the neck, sternocleidomastoid, down here. And then another part I like doing is at the temple. So you see this sort of wave shape. I like to emphasize that by starting about 1/3 in and then flicking up and out. I'm not actually applying product with it right now. I'm just showing you placement and how the brush fits and the sizing of it. So even though it looks like a really big brush, because of the surfaces available, you can do quite a few things with it, including detail. Could you apply blush with it? Absolutely. Can you do highlighter with it? Yes, you can because of that surface. But I have a more specialized brush for it. So this is a very much a multitasker if you only have to pack, or if you can only pack one brush. Okay, that is the last of my face brushes. Moving on to eyes. There's more of those guys. I'm going to start with the bigger brushes here. This is the Sado WS12. It's this angled brush made of goat hair. It's very loose towards the end and more firmly packed in here. Like you can see the spring back is much, much stronger. This is a very interesting one that I didn't quite know what to do with at first, but then I found the perfect thing for it was a cleanup brush. So I packed this one because I wanted to play with it, and then over the month or so, I found the time to do that. So this is for cleaning up under the eye, especially after I've applied a glittery eyeshadow and there's fallout, or if I've touched up my concealer with this. I'll go into the finishing powder and then kind of go over that and then use it to detail blend it into the rest of my face makeup. So it's not just stark white, fresh concealer and powder. That way, blending everything in and bringing the other, like I'll grab color from somewhere else and then like pack it here. And then that helps to blend it into the rest of my face. So this is my, oops, I really messed up brush and I need a clean brush to blend. This is the WQ12, also by Sado. I've been using this mostly as a base applying brush. So I'll apply my base color with this. And I'll also apply crease color with this because if you can see, it has a very nice point. So I can kind of carve out the outer corner of the eye and then bring it here to kind of just shade out that socket and down here. And then this is just my preferred method for doing makeup. I've been using it primarily with this brown color and this Bare Minerals quad. This is the After Party. It's pretty much a standard smoky eye quad. So it's a little bit more warm and has a bit of a mauve undertone to it, but it works really well with my skin tone. So I've been using this, and then if I feel like being a little lighter with the eye socket, I use the contour powder instead. That one's less dark, more neutral. So that's this. Applying a base with this one, and then sort of intensifying a neutral eye by just patting and sticking color where I want it. And because of that taper, it kind of automatically blends everything in, so I can just stamp the color on and not worry about having to blend in. So I just stamp, see how it creates that indent, and then the outer hairs kind of also move around, and that just blends the color in as I apply it very nicely. Sticking with the big brushes, these are my blending brushes, my primary blending brushes. So this is the Tom Ford 13. They no longer make this in natural hair. This is one of the last natural goat hair ones. They're now synthetic, I believe. And then it has a nice taper, not quite a point. And this is just a great blending brush for diffusing color because it is so strong. So this is my primary crease blender. This one, I don't know what it's called, but I believe it's called the Eye Base brush by Sue Devitt. This one is discontinued. It's made of kolinsky, densely packed in at the base, but because the ferrule's not crimped, it has a bit of give at the top. This is a fantastic eraser. So if my crease color too um, is too strong, too sharp, I'll take this, adjusting. I'll take this and sort of erase it. I'll just run it back and forth. I won't even use circular motions. I'll just run it back and forth. And because of that rounded edge, it will blend the color in very nicely. And it'll erase without taking away too much of the color. So this is another oops, I need to fix something brush, much like how this one is. You can substitute this one with any sort of larger paddle brush that's thicker. So this is a thick paddle brush. This is a thin paddle brush. Thick, thin, thick, thin. This is my eraser because of that give. So moving on with paddle brushes now. I have several. So this has been one of my favorites for natural looks and more sparkly makeup products. This is the Hokuto B127. It's made of Canadian squirrel. I think they're still not restocked on the Hokuto website, which is an absolute pity because this hair works beautifully with eyeshadows. So as you can see, it has a very broad surface and it narrows to a very fine tip. So not only can I apply broad areas, I can also get in and apply detail. And then because of the way this is shaped, I can use it to apply eyeshadow in sort of a wing. So if I take that dark color, for example, I can take this, tap it, and then sort of stamp and draw it in and create a very soft, smoky wing. So, and with this one, I just run in a microfiber cloth and it removes most of the color, and I'm good to go to use it for another application. This is the Hokuto GS2, I believe. Okay, let's look this up. Okay, yes, this is the, nope, maybe this is not GS2. Oh, that would be your cousin. This is one of the Hokuto brushes from CG Japan. It's one of the Kolinsky ones. Is it G5? WS1? One of these guys. Nope, not the WS1. I'll find out what it is and put it in the description box, but nope, you are not it. Let's just look. Anyways, this brush is one of my attempts to find a dupe for the Shu Uemura 10 brush. And I just like to collect Kolinsky paddle brushes because they work so well. Like it's like kind of like using your finger to apply eyeshadow, except you have a little more versatility because you have multiple surfaces to work with. And if I seem distracted right now, it's because I am. And then, so like the Hokuto ones, this one has a 24 karat gold ferrule. It just looks nice. Uh-huh. For some reason, I am not finding this on CD Japan. Okay, regardless, you can sub this with any sort of medium-sized eye brush. That's a paddle. Synthetic works as well if natural hair is not your thing, but I just really like Kolinsky. Again, this has a small enough edge I can get down here, along here. I wouldn't use this for stamping color on to intensify a crease like I would with this brush because this one has more of a natural blending ability thanks to that give when you press in. This one does not. This will give you a pretty harsh line. So if you want to do a cut crease, this is the brush to do it with, or anything similar. And I have a slightly bigger version of that with a bit more give. This one was just a brush that I wanted to play with. This is the Sado FQ10. This is made of Fitch. It reminds me most of Pony. So this is the spring back for Kolinsky. This is the spring back for Fitch. Often Fitch and Kolinsky or Weasel are mixed in with squirrel hair to give them more body and more firmness. This one is honestly not the most pleasant of brushes. I can feel a little bit of pokiness when I'm running it like this along my eye and kind of tapping it in. So I'm not sure I would recommend this one, but something approximately like this shape is a good idea for any makeup kit. So the one sort of failure in my month-long stash. And then this is something I would consider an absolute essential, something like a pencil brush. This is a Shu Uemura 5R, again made of Kolinsky. Flicky flicky. This one is very precise, acts like a pencil, so you can smudge out liner with pencil liner with it. You can place color. Something that I really like to do is place down a base color. So place down a base color, place down a body of more shimmery color, and then go in with a lighter or darker color, depending. So if I say lay down a base of a sort of darker neutral color, I'm using this NARS Kawaii Duo. I will take the gold, apply it over most of my lid, and take this and draw the purple along here, and then just kind of from outside in, blend it in, and then use whatever is left over on the brush, and then use it to kind of smoke and wing it out. So this has been one of my favorite combos. It's a very simple 3-color eye look. No, come back. And then this is another little detail brush that I have to have because I have to have options for details. This came in a Hokuto set. It's made of Canadian squirrel. I have no idea what an equivalent for this would be, but it's just to show you that having a very fine detail brush is wonderful because this is my backup for anything like, okay, I want to apply a little bit here and blend. Especially love this one because of that fine edge for blending on the lower lash line. And then if I really want to just intensify something particularly in one area, this is it. And because it's so small, it cleans very quickly and dries very, very quickly. So these, so I have two detail brushes, a very fine detail, a sort of medium detail, three paddle brushes because just in case I want to use a bunch of different colors or one of them's dirty. I said three paddle brushes. Where's the third one? Regardless, there's three of them somewhere. And then finally, I have a regular art paintbrush. This one I use for gel liner. This is just a Princeton one. This is a size 0 round brush. Works really well with something like this, the Inglot AMC gel liner. I'll just drag it very finely, or I'll use it to tightline. But usually I prefer a thicker cat eye wing. This is just a Estee Lauder freebie for eyes. So again, it has that bevel. Comes to a very nice point. And I've also used this one as a lip brush. Currently it's dirty with eyeliner, but this one also does very fine detail on corners, cupid's bows. And then this is synthetic. So eyeliner, we're done with you. Oh, I forgot one. This is a tapered eye blending brush. This is the Ray Morris point shader. So it comes through this flame. It's made of squirrel. And with this one, if I tap it in a dark shadow, like say the purple here, and I just place it with the point parallel, following the lower corner, I place it there, and I just drag it across. So what that gives me is a dark pointed cat eye here. And as I drag it across, because this shadow is multi-dimensional, it kind of turns into a different color. It turns into a lighter, warmer plum. And it just looks like I tried really hard, but all I did was roll my brush in the shadow, pull it across a couple times, and maybe intensified it a little more, stamped it, and that was it. So I've been really loving this duo along with this quad. So this is just a neutral quad, and then this is color. And I don't really use this brush for blending unless I'm blending between two different areas. So say I had a orange, a yellow, and a red. So I will use this one to blend between the different areas of color, and then possibly blend it down here as well, depending on if it's been muddied or not. And then because the squirrel is very silky, just dragging it on skin or on a microfiber cloth will clean it very well. And that covers all of the brushes except for one that it's more of a standard brush that I use all the time. And I've mentioned this before in my Chukuhodo video. This is the Chukuhodo Z7 lip brush. I use this one for when I'm out. I'll take a lipstick. This is the one I've been using, the one red lipstick. I showed a lot of restraint, bring only one. I'll just load it up and then bring it with me, pop it closed, bring it with me for the rest of the day. So I don't have to bring a big lipstick or a purse. Because what I like to do is just stick this in a pocket or stick it in someone else's pocket and they can carry it for me. Versus this, I have to worry about it melting. This one, it can't really melt or go anywhere off the brush. So this is much more preferable. So if I'm going out to dinner, I'll just load it up, bring this, and then stick it in my wallet sometime because I have a pen loop. I just put it in there, or I stick it in the boyfriend's pocket, and it's done. And that is all of my brushes. As for the makeup that I have not shown yet, I'll bring something like a nude or white colored liner for making the eyes look a little bigger. This is the Smashbox Always Sharp Waterproof Kohl Liner in Bare. I find that it stays really well on my waterline. My sister doesn't have the same experience, but she's weird. And then I have to bring a couple colored eyeliners. This one is Mars. It's way old from a old set that Urban Decay had. It's a very vibrant, rich emerald green that I absolutely love, and I bought backups of it. And then this one is a little purple with multi-dimensional sparkle that I like to use in the outer corner of my eyes. This is 1999. It was released as part of a set, I think, a couple years ago, and they brought back old colors that they discontinued. And aside from a eye primer and a lash base, this is the Lancome booster that I got as part of a skincare set. My mascara, which I keep here. This is the DHC Double Protection Mascara. It's a tubing mascara that I really like because it defines every lash and makes them look really long and curled. And I also keep in here a eyebrow pencil. This is the Drawing Eyebrow by Etude House. This is in gray, I believe. And then so I have the brush on one end I can just use to groom my brows, and then a color to fill. It's one of those wedge-shaped triangle ones. And what else I have in here? A little vial of perfume and a big waterproof crayon that I normally use for tight lining very, very quickly. I'll just pop it off. It's a big crayon, but I just go like this, scare everybody, and I draw it back and forth and just color in my lash line, and it makes my eyes look bigger. And I also keep tweezers in here because you never know when you need tweezers. And then, so this kit, I actually just stick this in here. It's like perfect fit. Reddit would love this. Like the subreddit perfect fit, they would love this. So there, boom. This is for touch-ups throughout the day. I'll use this as a lip color if my lip color wears off and I didn't wear red lipstick. This one makes a very nice nude color on the lips. Touch up for the rest of my face. And then this is my sort of emergency kit on if I have to redo my makeup, everything I need is in here. I got my base, my blush, my highlight, contour if I'm feeling a little fancy, and yes, I just use my fingers to apply everything. My mascara, my liner, and then this in case I get splinters or glass in my finger and I need to remove it because I am very accident prone. And then eyebrow grooming, and that's all I need for a day. Everything else that I've just showed you is extra, way extra. And the last two products I have not shown you yet is this Makeup Forever eyeshadow. This is Reptile. It's a multi-dimensional golden, brownie, greeny, khaki, smoky black color. And it works really well just smeared on the eye with a paddle brush, smear on the eye, eraser brush, blend out the edge, and then detail brush, grab a light color, and then just pop it on like sort of like a halo. Really simple and looks really good. And when I do have the time and effort and make the effort to use a lot of colors, this is the one palette that I brought. This is the Visiar Bijou. I think I'm pronouncing that incorrectly. 09 Bijou Royal. So it has a lot of colors, a lot of options, kept me fully entertained for a month. And of course, I did borrow other people's makeup. But otherwise, this is what I've been living off of for the last month. And I don't think I would change very many things except leaving that Fitch brush at home next time. So if you have any questions for me, please leave them in the comments. I hope this video was helpful, if a little rambly. And oh, eyelash curlers. This one I just kept in a separate bag because it didn't fit nicely into my two makeup pouches. But this is a standard Hokuto snap case brush holder. I think a lot of other Japanese makeup brush companies offer something like this. For example, I just got a Hokuto set from Beautylish. And then this is theirs. It's made of cloth instead of this vinyl material. Same size. Same number of pockets pretty much. They just have the addition of a flap. I'll be reviewing these brushes soon. They're the Sakura um, Mother of Pearl handle brushes. So I've been playing with them. They're nice, and I'll probably review them soon, even though there's not really a point since they're sold out. But they're nice, and I'll just archive them on the internet. So, going through everything again. This is the Sonia G Base 1. This is my foundation brush. This is the KQ12 by Sado. This is my concealer brush. And moving on to powder, this is the Sonia G Soft Cheek Fluffy Loose Round Brush. Small blush brush, this is the Sonia G Classic Cheek. And when I travel, I do prefer small cheek brushes because they're just more precise, more versatile. You can do more things with them. Like ordinarily at home, I like oversized cheek brushes like this one. So I just swipe color on, and then I can just grab another brush to do something else with. But generally, when you're traveling, smaller brushes are more versatile. So small cheek brush, highly recommend. This is the Classic Cheek. Highlight brush, this is the Sado DC14, and you can just substitute this with any other similarly sized tapered brush. This is my contour brush, the Sonia G Worker Fan. Also works well as a bronzer brush and finishing and powder setting brush. This is my base brush as well as crease intensifier brush. This is the WQ12 by Sado. This is my detail fixer brush, the WS12. And this could absolutely also be used for highlight and other similar applications. I wouldn't use it for contour because it's not quite strong enough, though you could if you have a powder that is very buildable. But I did find myself using this as a highlighter brush occasionally. This is another fix-it brush as well as a blender brush. This is a Kolinsky thick paddle brush by Sue Devitt. I believe this is the base eye brush. Round tapered eye blending brush of medium size. This is the Tom Ford 13, the old Tom Ford 13. You can find similar brushes like this in the Hokuto lines as well as MAC. And then the smallest of the blending brushes, which I kind of use for detail blending between areas of color, the Ray Moyers Point Shader. So here we have a Kolinsky, a goat, and a squirrel. I think I've covered all the bases. And for my detail brushes, wait, where are you? For my detail brushes, I have this round pencil-like brush made of Kolinsky, and I have a tiny little squirrel paddle brush. This is a Shu Uemura 5R. And this is some unknown Hokuto brush that does not exist in a permanent line, but it's really, really small. So like, small. And then 2 synthetic brushes for more hard products that would be more damaging to wash out. So very tenacious gel liner. I just use a regular art brush for, or I mean, this is a freebie brush. I can abuse it all I want. But it has a very nice shape because it tapers nicely to this thin point and has this bezel, which I can use to draw on lines. And last but not least, my 3 eye paddle brushes. This one was my workhorse. This is the Hokuto B127. It was a workhorse because of that incredible shaping of the hairs. And also easy to clean. And these were sort of interchangeable. I would use one if the other was dirty or vice versa. And then this is just for applying larger areas of a colored eyeshadow. Like these with this guy or this guy. And then the detailed brushes would either be used for a lighter color or used for a darker color. And then of course, my lip brush, because I can't be bothered to carry around a full-size lipstick and worry about that thing melting. And plus, it's fun to pop this out. And everybody goes, wow, what is that in the bathroom? Eyelash curler. And that is all. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you find it helpful. Until next time, be beautiful.